The IS-7, a Tier 10 Russian heavy tank that has been in World of Tanks Blitz since the beginning of the game. Now this vehicle has always had a very special place for me personally. I really like what the tank tries to be. It's got good mobility, going upwards of 50 kilometers per hour, plus it has a very chunky alpha of 460 damage per shot, and it's even got very solid frontal armor. It's just that it doesn't really get all of these things nailed down correctly, and when you add on the very inaccurate gun plus very poor premium penetration and sometimes a weak ammo rack, it does make a not so fantastic vehicle. Now don't get me wrong, I think the IS-7 is a very good tank. In fact, I would rate it above some of the tier 10 heavy tanks, but I also wouldn't rate it up there with vehicles like the IS-4 or the E-100 VK-90. I think that it's a good tank, but it's definitely not the current meta of Blitz. You don't see this in comp, and it definitely makes sense. Why run the IS-7 when you can run the IS-4, which has basically the same damage per minute, more frontal armor, very similar mobility as well. The IS-7 has an average speed of 32 kilometers per hour, and this tank has an average speed, as you can see here, at 28. The issues I find with this tank is it seems really good on paper, but it just really falls apart when you start to nitpick the things on the tank. However, in today's video, we are going to be talking about update 8.3 and the changes that are going to be coming to the vehicle that are good. Actually, all of them are good because it's only armor and it's flat out buffed armor. Now, it's not huge changes because the actual armor's thickness isn't changing itself. What Wargaming is doing is they're actually changing the model, as you can see, of the IS-7. So they're changing it with the PBR files to look more like the PC variant, which is meaning that the tank is getting a little bit longer, meaning that the upper plate is becoming a little bit more angled, and the turret as well is getting a bit more armor because of that. So, if we look at the hull on flat angles, it's about 350 millimeters thick on the front, 330 right there on the front there, and it goes all the way up to 370 millimeters thick. The turret cheeks are about 270, ranging upwards of 320, and you can see that really is not too great at all. If we break into the IS-7 now and we take a look at that armor, it's about 360 millimeters on the upper part here, and it ranges all the way up to 380. So it's about a 10 millimeter increase on the upper plate, which isn't bad, judging that 380 millimeters means that now all heat shells should struggle a lot to get through this part here. Even with calibrated shells on an IS-4, it's going to be quite a tricky pen, especially if you're using your 6 degrees of gun depression. Good luck cutting through that upper plate armor. 480 at the weakest. Yeah, that is quite impressive. Not to mention the turret cheeks, which were weak, are now going to be ranging at 316 millimeters thick, all the way up to 390, 400 millimeters thick. Yeah, this thing is actually going to be quite a strong vehicle on the armor than what it was before. Now, it's nothing dramatic. It's just going to be slight changes here and there. But I wanted to know, is the tank going to perform better? In my opinions, no. The big thing about the IS-7 isn't the armor. It's already good on armor. If you're using the 6 degrees of gun depression that the vehicle does have, you can get some very good bounces. In fact, a lot of shells bounce this vehicle. The issue, in my personal opinion, comes to the mobility. The tank is supposed to be a fast version of kind of like the IS-4. It's very mobile. 50 kilometers per hour is the fastest you'll find of a tier 10 heavy. But as I said, it only has an average top speed of 32. And its traverse speed at 29 degrees a second makes this thing seem more like a super heavy than really a fast heavy tank. The VK-90 has a worse power to weight ratio of 12.8, but because it only goes 30 kilometers per hour, that power to weight actually gives it a very solid average speed of 28 kilometers per hour. So why does it make sense in any world that the VK-90 is almost averaging the same speed as an IS-7? I don't get it. And that's the issue I have with this vehicle, is I really think Wargaming should revamp the mobility and make this thing maybe not as fast as medium tanks, but give it the acceleration of a WZ-113, at least in a straight line. Now, the other thing that is, of course, a big killer on the IS-7 is the premium rounds. It's 318 millimeters of APCR, and I am not running rammer. I'm running calibrated shells, meaning that normally it's only 303 millimeters of pen. Yeah, that's not great. It's not terrible, and I think I've said in many of my IS-7 reviews, it's enough to get through most frontal armor. But when you're up against either angling players that know how to angle their mouse, their E-100, or, an IS-4 that's using its slight gun depression, it is basically impossible to pen them. That is where struggles do occur. And you might say, well, you could just aim better and then you'll pen your shots. And yeah, that's true. You could always get a shot into the mouse's cheek, even if it is angled. But the thing is an IS-4 has 374 heat pen. It goes through the upper plate of a mouse. So you're comparing a tank that you actually have to try and aim for weak spots to a vehicle that has more hit points. It's got actually about the same hit points now after the nerf, but it's definitely got more frontal armor, especially it's just a beefier tank overall. The IS-4 has about the same DPM. It's got a more accurate gun. It's got about the same mobility as we did see, even though its top speed is slower overall. And the big thing about the IS-4 is its gun just pens everything. You just dab that premium ammo and everything becomes butter. Now, funny enough, this video was actually recorded earlier today. I had recorded this video, I would say at 6 p.m. It's currently now 1:30 in the morning. Yes, so literally, 7-8 hours ago, I recorded the video. And I'm actually, well, not 7. Actually, yeah, it is about 7-8 hours. But I'm really disappointed that I had to redo the video. It turns out that the audio wasn't working. So for anybody that did originally click on that video and they're like, well, why is it privated? Well, yeah, apparently it just didn't record my audio. I expected the audio to be fine. I didn't really need to fact check anything I said in the video because I don't use a script in my videos. A lot of people always wonder, if I use a script or not. No, I don't. I actually just memorize the things about the tank, talk about what goes through my mind as I'm playing. I think it's a lot better to not have a script. That way the video doesn't seem, haha, get ready for it, scripted. But, yeah, because of that, I thought the video was all good. Didn't really think to check it. Seems like the audio is fine. It still had the noise from the gameplay, just didn't have any audio at all. So, yeah, gotta love that. So here we are. This time my audio should be working. If not, I'm going to be so disappointed. Now there's an E50M and bam! 432 millimeters, or damage, should I say, not millimeters. That wouldn't make sense. Now the IS-7 does have some very good aspects on the turret armor. It's in fact a very strong turret. That grill fired an HE shell at me, and I don't really know what his plan was there, but of course this thing is great on the armor. As we saw, even with its weakest state currently, it's still about 270 millimeters thick, and that means if you're using gun depression, it's really, really good. So that's nice. The aiming time isn't too bad either. It's actually able to get some pretty nice snaps in there. Now that grill, I'm not sure what he's planning on doing, but I'm thinking maybe I can drive over this ridge and, well, we're still not able to get a shell in. Never mind. I thought it might have been just slightly possible to get a shell into that grill, but oh, what the heck is going on over here? Well, we got an E100 off to the side, and as I said, the premium pen really just sucks. Like, I just can't pen this guy. Now, we can go for the lower plate, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. We're going to load in a standard shell, and boom! Beautiful shell cutting through his lower plate armor. But, like, an IS-4, I wouldn't even have to think twice. I would have just loaded premium ammo, and it would have cut through with no problems whatsoever. That is the advantages of having heat penetration, is you just negate armor when you normally wouldn't even need to worry. This tank, it really is a big struggle. Now, we're going to finish off, well, I guess not. My teammate's going to finish off the FE4202. But with that, we're doing pretty good here. The 183 is off to the side. He's probably going to get a big old chonker into the IS-7. Yes, he did. And with that, what do we have? Well, we got the enemy 183 off to the side over here. We're going to get a nice slap into him and pull on forwards. Yeet, get out of my way, 183. That is perfect, so we got a pretty big slap into you. Then we have the enemy IS-7 off to the side. Now, you will see that the side armor of the IS-7, while it is troll, is not very hard to penetrate. In fact, that was a very easy tap there. Thank you very much for your hit points, good sir. And now we're going to start pushing on vehicles like this E100 over to the side. So, again, you can see the IS-7 is not a bad tank. As I said in the beginning of the video, it's good. And sure, while the premium could not cut through that guy there, oof, that was very sad, actually. That missed by just a teeny bit of where I wanted it to go, which, of course, in the end caused me to miss that shell. But you can see the tank's not bad. The gun's able to penetrate most of its shells. It's got good alpha. And on flat ground here, we were able to get up to 40 kilometers per hour. It's just, it really struggles in total on getting up to those big numbers of 50. But you know what? I'll take 2,900 damage here. Pretty solid if I do say so myself, although this E50M is about to be yeeted and deleted. So there you go. Pretty solid game in the IS-7. Now, I am going to do 2 helpings of gameplay because, while I still did talk about the tank in the beginning, I always like to do 2 helpings of gameplay to let you guys know what I think about the tank. What is that? I just got a crate received for battle. I think that's... Oh, what is this? Camo container. I got a camo... Okay, thank you. I don't, is that an event going on? I have no clue. But as you could see for the first game there, the gun was good when I had to load standard ammo. In fact, the standard pen is very similar to the premium. The premium is 303, and the standard is 260, and then if you're running calibrated, it's 270. It's only about 30 millimeters difference, 40 millimeters a pen. And judging that AP has 5 degrees of shell normalization, and APCR only has, what, 2 degrees? It actually evens out quite closely. So your standard ammo might be better for actually penetrating certain angles than your premium APCR, especially judging that APCR has much more shell penetration loss over distance, especially why we could not penetrate that E100 for the life of us at the distance we were aiming at. Normally, if you're up close, that wouldn't have been a struggle at all. The E100 turret at, that chart wasn't even angled too much there. It was kind of over-angled as well. We pretty easily could have cut through that, I'm gonna say, if we were close quarters, but yeah, unfortunately, far away, that's not how it works. And funny enough, heat shells do not worry about distance whatsoever. Heat completely... Well, actually, for anybody wondering how heat works, I was going to say completely negates any distance shell penetration drop, but the reason that actually is because heat is a chemical reaction. So that's why whenever you shoot a wall that is destructible with AP, it'll go straight through and hit the enemy. Well, heat doesn't do that because it's a chemical reaction. Whenever it hits an object, it has a little blast charge that kind of shoots out this whole molten metal that melts through the tank. That's at least to what I'm aware, which is pretty awesome when you think about it. However, that does cause disadvantages when you're aiming at spaced armor because heat really struggles to cut through that. Really massive penetration loss there, where APCR actually has big advantages. I like APCR more than heat. It's just, it struggles in a lot of areas. So here we go. Speed, it's okay. You can see we're getting up to 40 kilometers per hour now, but the AMX M4 in front of me is a tank that only goes 45, and I go 50, and that tank is actually going faster than me basically in acceleration. Again, you can see it's just a struggle getting up to your acceleration here. But either way, we're going to wait for this Yo. Ooh, I was going to say wait for this Yo to shoot, but it looks like he's got a platoon mate over here. We're going to aim it on this guy's cupola. Oh, back up, back up, back up. Yep, that's what I saw. We saw an IS-7 doing things. I don't really know what he's doing, to be honest. But good news is that we've already gotten the first shell on him, which means we do have the reload, of course. We've got this nice tap here. Thank you very much, good sir. And with that, we've got the AMX M4, who's also going to get a nice tap into his armor. Now, the Sheridan, I'm not sure what he's doing. I'm just going to back my booty on up here. Maybe we can get a nice tap into the Sheridan. I don't really know what to say about this game, but I will get a nice tap into the IS-7. There you go. Another nice penetration there for 400 damage. And I'm hoping that this AMX M4 is going to shoot this guy, but no, he's not. Okay, well, sadly I did bleed a little bit of hit points for that. Let's just load an HE shell and finish off the enemy IS-7. That guy clearly played his tank very poorly, and because of that, we were easily able to outsource his weaknesses and get some very nice shells in. Now we have the M6 Yo off to the side over here, and that tank is not one you want to mess with. Very, very deadly. But that guy's obviously on a reload, so now that he's not, we're going to aim in on his cupolas and yeet. There you go. Nice tap. Massive low roll at that, but we still did penetrate the shell, and we're going to see if we can get this guy to shoot. As soon as he fires, I'm going to push on up over here, and we're going to see if I can get some shells into the enemy E100. I'm really, really hoping that we can get some taps in here, so let's load in a premium shell, but oof, he just loaded a premium shell right back into me, should I say. Now, nice thing is, I do know I out-reload him, which is good. You know, I can get a nice tap into his vehicle here. Let's see if we can do that right now. Yeet, there you go, nice tap into the E100, and with that, we're doing okay. Our team is definitely falling apart here. We had one victory, and this is most likely going to be one defeat. But either way, you can clearly see the IS-7 does do a very solid job. The gun, as I said just before, it will cut through the armor of an E100 quite easily if you give it the time. And, well, there you go. Nice tap into the Grill 15 there. But, again, very, very poor circumstances for my team here, and it looks like they just fell apart very, very quickly. We've got an M6 shell off to the side there. We're going to aim in a premium shell right on this E100. Boom. Thank you very much, good sir. And now I'm going to face hug this guy. This would be my best advantage to bouncing his shell. So if I face hug him, oh yeah, there you go. Nice shot from my teammate, which is actually very good here. Did not expect my teammate to get that shell out. Now we are going to drive over towards the, oh, maybe. Oh, come on. I thought that was actually going to be an HE shell. Please, no, please, no. Either way, the IS-7 did a good job. both of these games, you can clearly see the IS-7 still has that spark. And that was 4,300 damage there. So the IS-7's a good tank. And by no means is it bad, by no stretch of the imagination whatsoever. You can clearly see here that the M6Yo, even though that's a completely just bonkers tank in its current state, not only that, but a very good player, 65% average win rate, and a very solid plan, still wasn't able to pump out as much damage as the IS-7. So I think the tank's good. You know, you're able to do good things, and this is why I've never spoken bad about the vehicle. A lot of people try to say the ammo rack is terrible. It's okay. It's not bad, but it definitely can be penned a lot of the times, and when a vehicle like the 183 aims at it, there is a decent chance that sometimes kablooey goes your tank. But for the most part, I think the IS-7's a good vehicle. It's just, it struggles in too many aspects. The penetration, the mobility compared to the IS-4, it's just, the IS-4 would have done, honestly, the same job, if not better, in that scenario there. And that's the issue, is that why run the IS-7 when you can run the IS-4? This barely has a mobility advantage. So if this tank was more mobile, I would enjoy it a lot more. So my plea to Wargaming would be increase the power to weight maybe to 25, or maybe not 25, that would be ridiculous, but make it more, I would say, like a very slow medium tank, kind of like the M48 Patton on acceleration. Nothing incredible, but quick enough to get up to top speed. That way, your number of 50 kilometers per hour actually means something. You know, kind of like an Object 260's acceleration. This tank's got a power to weight of 20.0, and it averages 35, but driving this tank, I can tell you, it is like a breeze. It just goes shee. The IS-7 just slow, which is my biggest concern on it. I also would like if they buffed the premium pin a little bit, but we'll take one, you know. With a grain of salt here, I'd like at least something added onto the vehicle. I think the armor's going to be nice, but it's not going to change much. Let me know what you guys think about the IS-7 in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. Other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye!